Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason, though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
If you shave your cooch, but not your booty hole, is that the same as a mullet?
My tongue out her ass and left. I'm on TV! Oh shit! First cops, now this? Oh.
Having a wonderful day. We're discussing the case of Sebastian Wayne Rogers. He's a 15-year-old autistic boy when he disappeared on February 26, 2024, and he has not been seen by video. He hasn't been seen by a private citizen, and there has been no scent dogs to track his location, but we are told that he disappeared and last seen on February 26th. This child disappeared from inside an alleged locked home that has no signs of forced entry and no signs of him leaving the home. This tale started on February 26 when a call came in to the Sumner County non-emergency dispatch line around 6:33 in the morning. It was learned that Sebastian Wayne Rogers, an autistic and medically needy boy, seemingly walked out of his home and was never seen again. At least that's what we are led to believe. By February 27th in the afternoon, an Amber Alert was issued for Sebastian Wayne Rogers, alleging that there's a possibility of an abduction of this boy to have taken place. None of us were really clear at the time why this Amber Alert had surfaced, since they kept expressing that there was no possibility that led them to believe he was abducted. We fast forward to March 4th. March 4th was a critical and pivotal moment in this case, and that's when law enforcement decided to scale back their search efforts. This would have been communicated with the parents on March 3rd or before. On March 3rd, that was the first interview the mom and stepdad provided on a Duchess panel. On March 4th, they did their first mainstream media interview with WSMV. And both of those interviews were a little odd. We were unaware what had really transpired, and we were hanging on every word the mom and stepfather said. But there were some things that just didn't seem right. One of those things is their over-explanation of how he was not in trouble, and how he had not been in trouble recently, and how he had a good day, and how they just are racking their brains and can't figure out why he would run away from home. Seth Rogers, the biological father of Sebastian Wayne Rogers, went to media and started expressing some concerns with the statements or the story that his ex-wife was providing. He just felt like something was off. By March 18th, on the Smiley's World interview and the subsequent interviews after that, such as Nancy Grace, it was clear that there was a meltdown between the family dynamic between the mom and stepfather and with Seth Rogers, the biological father. It seemed like the family unit that Chris and Katie were trying to proclaim was so great at the time of the son's disappearance has now have many public fractures in that facade. We still have no clue where Sebastian Wayne Rogers is, but what we do know is Seth has done everything we as the public expect. He's been out there looking for his son since day one. He's provided us his alibi and the supporting documents to prove his alibi, and furthermore has done a polygraph test on the Nancy Grace show, which was publicly released, identifying that Seth Rogers passed his polygraph test. So where do we go from here? The leads lead where they lead. Let's go through some of the information. We were told that this child had no history of running away from home, yet woke up in the middle of the night one day after having an amazing weekend and took off with not even his shoes on. We learned from law enforcement that there is no scent and no video of Sebastian on it, and there have been no eyewitnesses coming forward that have seen Sebastian since the infamous video at the Texas Roadhouse Grill. We were also made to believe that his life was a very normal life, and then we learned that this mom and stepfather, while trying to conceal the information, have been trying to rehome this child as early as October 2022, and since moving into their home on Stafford Court, have had 5 CPS reports called against them from third parties such as teachers. We were told from the beginning that all parents were cooperative. They've all taken a polygraph test. They are all cleared by law enforcement. However, we learned the only person that had taken a polygraph test was Katie Proudfoot. Chris and Seth had never taken a polygraph test, and again, for months, he proclaimed he had been cleared and passed his polygraph test. The mom and stepdad also stated on many interviews they were doing everything they can. They were searching, they were posting flyers, they were putting up signs. However, their neighbors and their community stated that that was also a lie. They had not seen them. And when they questioned them about it, they got into their camper and took off. The mom and stepdad were seen eating out during search efforts. We're seen motorcycle shopping during a vigil. And we learned that they went to a motorcycle rally while law enforcement was still searching for their son. For many of us, these are very disturbing and problematic behaviors and actions from the mom and stepdad, which is what raises red flags in our eyes and in our minds. Nothing has been stated to resolve that issue. And lastly, I also find it very concerning that Seth has provided his alibi with supporting documentation. Katie has provided her alibi, whether we believe it or not. She has provided it. The one person that has never provided us one scintilla of information related to his alibi or where he was during the time of Sebastian's disappearance is Christopher Proudfoot, the stepfather of Sebastian Rogers. And he still proclaims to this day that law enforcement has specifically told him and him alone not to reveal his timeline. Again, that's not something that is typical. Typically, the person that's the furthest away, their alibi has no relevance to the case. So since his has relevance to the case, wouldn't that conclude that he is an integral part of the Sebastian Rogers case? Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channels on multiple platforms such as X, Instagram, Facebook, here on YouTube, and hopefully TikTok if it survives January 19th. I hope you all have an amazing day. God bless each and every one of you that's watching this video. What we do know as fact, however, is that Seth has been searching for his son ever since his son disappeared. Seth has publicly taken a polygraph. He has publicly produced his work records. This man has done everything he could possibly do, including working with the FBI, working with me to advocate for his son, calling on the national media, getting Nick the Hat and Dog the Bounty Hunter, and we're here with what from the mom and stepfather? Nothing for almost 10 months. Shoddy searches at best, working with an unscrupulous PI, felons, and including one searcher utilizing substances, illicit substances, while searching for their son. This beautiful morning. Everyone should be getting up and starting the day. It is hump day. You guys are on top of the curve, ready to slide right on into the weekend, and we've got quite the lineup for you today. Many of you guys have experienced across this country some pretty bad weather. But you guys are pretty stinking lucky because this first case we're going to be talking about is like a 9-second video, and it's going to terrify the crap out of you. And I mean that literally and figuratively, because I don't want to be this car driving by. Look at this. This is insane. This is coming out of Atlanta, Georgia. This came out of Atlanta, Georgia just a few days ago, but still has the same impact as it does right now. you, but the weather was pretty bad here on the south side of the United States, the lower half of the United States. We've just been going through it. We had a lot of destruction in Alabama, destruction across Tennessee, some destruction in Oklahoma. We have lightning bolts coming down on the interstate in Atlanta, Georgia. It has been a crazy little system that has kind of moved through the United States. Now, this morning I woke up, it was pretty stinking cold this morning here in Florida. I don't know if that has to do with the system or when our, heat is going to come back. I will be honest with you, I'm not complaining too much when it's not freezing cold. When it's a nice cool morning, I enjoy my nice cool mornings. I do not enjoy bone chilling cold. Okay, I leave that to you, all you snowbirds. Okay, all you people up there in those states that like to see the snow and like to shovel snow and stuff like that. I'm gonna enjoy myself right here in Florida. Thank you so much. Thank you for your service, your snow plowing services. I don't need them here in Florida, but occasionally my bones hurt because it's too cold. Forever Nikki's mom just gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. Don't forget to tell Forever Nikki's mom thank you for the membership. Whoever is here, and I do have, I'm gonna make a video. Somebody sent me something, so I got to work on it. Ain't there yet. So welcome to this crazy crew we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. What? Do you want to say hi to everybody? Okay. Hi. I know. I've been working all morning. I know. You just don't seem like you have any time with mommy. I know. Oh, thank you for the morning kisses. Thank you. Thank you, baby girl. You want to say hi to everybody, or you just want to dig for boogers? I'm just curious. You want to say hi to everybody? Why don't we just turn you around here? Why don't you just say hi? Say hi, everybody. I'm here. Don't think I'm ever anywhere without my mommy. Here I am. See, I'm just a pretty girl. I'm just crime fighting with mommy. This is where I want to be. If she could hold me like this all day, I'd be a happy little girl. But I know her arm gets heavy with me in it. But I still love her. This is how I prefer to be held. Right here. Are you glad we didn't have that horrible thunder? I mean, the other day you were barking just at the wind. Can you imagine having torrential thunder going boom, boom, boom? No? Okay. Well, thank you for coming and hanging out, but you need to go back to your bed. Mommy's almost done. Actually, I'm just beginning, but we won't tell her. Shh. Shh. Thank you for that. And Melanie, thank you. Hopefully you heard me. I tried to unmic myself to tell you thank you. Happy Wednesday, Betty, Delilah, mods in chat. Bet, even though I hide in the bushes, I think I'm coming around, chatting a little more. Love to you, everyone. Aw, that's so sweet. Well, we definitely appreciate you here, Melanie, and always contribute to the chat. They love, everybody's here. Outside of a few people that need, attention because they're not getting attention from their mommy and daddy, even after they became an adult, and they're just disgusting people. But, those people every so often come in here to try to get attention. We don't really care. And just, just for other, shits and giggles, let's see what else we can do here. Oh, hold on. I was planning on changing my background. Where's the right background I want? We'll put him back up right there. There we go. That's the background I really want. So we have that. Now we're going to kind of go into another story. This story was also brought to us. And of course, my audio fails. Thank you, StreamYard. We always love working with your very expensive product that doesn't work properly. Just saying. And this is like a weird story. This is like something that they make creepy movies out of. And I'm not lying. Like creepy movies out on the dark road in the middle of nowhere. And something is just laying in the middle of the road and you swerve to miss it. You go into the cornfield and now you got kids coming. I'm just saying, I'm reading this story that somebody sent me, and they're like, this is pretty interesting. I start reading it, and I'm starting to think of Children of the Corn. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. This is pretty weird. Let me give anybody and everybody, even the youngsters out there that are watching this channel, no matter how hard it is, whether it's an animal or an object on the road, do not slam on your brakes. Do not yank your wheel. That is one of the absolute worst things you can do. You will be in a single car accident. And when you're going at certain speeds, there's no guarantee that you're going to survive that single car accident. So, but let me just put this out there. No matter what, I know we love our furry little animals too. But when you're driving a huge vehicle, at the end of the day, you're basically putting that animal's life above your own, okay? And your family, whoever is in that car. So let me just be very clear on my statement here, guys. If you see something in the road in the middle of the night, plow the MFR over, okay? Don't yank your wheel. Don't have a single car accident. Plow through it. The damage is going to be a lot less. I guarantee it. If you can stop, obviously stop. But if you can't, and let me just tell you, if you see an object in the middle of a freaking road that should not be there, like say a TV, if you have time to stop, I wouldn't even get out of your car. I would kind of just drive around. I would not open the door. I would not check why it's there. I would not look to see if there's anybody in the area. I would probably, if I had stopped in time from hitting it, I would probably proceed around it and keep on going. Okay? Do not get out of your car in the middle of nowhere. Nobody did, thank God. But this is creep. I'm not gonna play the video. But I'm going to read, I think that the reading of the story, it'll develop in your mind. It'll develop in your mind. So this is a guy, he doesn't just, I judge people. Sorry, not sorry. Just his look in this, he looks dazed and confused. Okay. So I'd have to believe that there probably is a hint of some type of mental issue or developmental issue. There appears, in my opinion, that there must be something wrong with this person. Okay. But when I get closer to the end of the article, you'll realize how creepy it really does sound. And this is out of Nebraska. Douglas County Sheriff's Office deputies made an arrest in a string of mysterious traffic incidences last year along Highway 36. Monday, as deputies brought 23-year-old Spencer Maker to the station, he's facing charges of attempted first-degree assault and felony criminal mischief. Oh, thank you, me and you. Hey. It's nice to see you. God bless you. Oh, and Phil, I missed you. Phil gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership from Phil, please don't forget to tell Phil thank you. Welcome to this crazy growing all the coffee club, i.e. the insane asylum. And so we're going to get into more details of this. They did execute a search warrant. The arrest comes almost exactly 3 months after a search warrant was served on the home. DCSO investigators referred to at the time. If you see it flickering, it's because of all the advertisements this WOWT news organization needs. So we have First Alert 6 investigated was there too and has since verified that the person was Maker. He sat in a detective's car during the search and was allowed back into his home after about 2 hours. Now here it starts going into more details of this kooky, and I mean kooky case. And it says deputies have been investigating at least 4 incidences of drivers either hitting or swerving to miss large objects left on Highway 36 at night, from a coffee table to a chair, even a kid's bicycle. In one incident, a young married couple escaped with their lives after dodging what they thought was a television in the middle of Highway 36 on a dark night in December. Their car crashed into a wire guardrail and slid into a ravine. They told First Alert that they saw, this is the Children of the Corn reference right here. Hold on, let me get my spooky voice in. I wonder if I can get like Purge original. How does this sound? Am I purging? I can't tell if I'm purging. Hopefully I'm purging. I don't know if I can't tell. I can't tell what my voice sounds like. It doesn't sound like it's making much of a difference. Hold on, let me turn. Oh, there it is. I had to change my voice changer up just a little bit. Can you guys hear me in a different voice? Hold on, let me see if I can do the purge. There it goes. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I'm in a purge voice or not, but I need to be. And it said they saw a man standing on the shoulder right after the crash. Like, it gives you the EBGBs. I'm sorry, it gives you the EBGBs. It gives you the weird. Am I in my new voice or my old voice? I'm probably still in my old voice. I can't figure out how to work
this. I have the voice changer on. Oh, there it is. I got a monster voice now. They saw a man standing on the shoulder right after the crash, and resulted in him being able to see first responders responding, and him being able to respond as a helper. But worst case scenario could have resulted in someone seriously injured or death.
Okay, I think I'm back. I take my voice changer stuff off. Did I do it okay? Was that a scary monster? I'm telling you, this story gave me like Children of the Corn, freaky deaky, like I don't know what's going on here, but freaking TV's in a road in the middle of the road. This newly married couple crashes. They get out of their car and they see a weird guy standing on the side of the road staring at them. If that doesn't give you like Children of the Corn creep vibes, I don't know what will. Okay, it gave me creep vibes. It made it to the Bullhorn Betty channel. Just to let you guys know. Just to let you guys know. I can't remember who sent this to me, but whoever did, thank you. As a result of him being able to see first responders responding and him being able to respond as a helper, but worst case scenario could have resulted in someone's serious injury or death. First Alert 6 Investigate found 2 other drivers who had hit objects placed on the highway. The damage to their vehicle was not as extensive. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Sometimes as much as we try to avoid injuring our cars, when we swerve and take ourselves into ravines with our car, we're causing ourselves more damage in the long run. Plow the MFer over. That's my thing, right? You try to stop like when I prayed before I prayed before the last trip to Tennessee, and I think we even had a public prayer here on this channel to pray, that I had a safe trip. Well, do you know that on those back roads at night, there were 2 deer that literally jumped in front of my car and stopped on this dark ass road. I couldn't see, but my headlights in front of me, it was pitch black, not Stafford Court pitch black, like literally pitch black. And and then whenever I did, I saw the one jump in. I can't remember. I think it was like a shadow that caught my eye, and then I saw the one eyeball on the side of the head. And so I started applying my brake, and I'm glad I did, because if I would have waited any longer, I would have probably careened in these 2 deer. And so I came to a complete stop, and they jumped out of the way. But what would I have done if something was in the middle of the road? I don't know. I usually take rental cars. What kind of damage am I looking at to damage my rental car on something? I was terrified. So it was a split second terror, like you get the pins and needles through your body like this, when something shocks you. And that was the situation I was at. But I can't imagine like driving along and seeing a flippin' TV in the middle of the road. And would I try to avoid to hit it? Yes, to a certain extent, but I'm not driving my car off the flipping road. I'd rather deal with the damage and the insurance than having not being able to see what's over on the other side of that lane that I'm about to go into. So please take this as two things. There are some really freaky people out there on those back roads. So if you see something weird and it feels like Children of the Corn, get out of there. First and foremost, plow whatever the object is over and get out of there. And whatever you do, for God's sake, don't open your flipping door and do not exit your vehicle. Call for help, do what you can, but I don't want to see any of you guys debuting in like like a reboot of Children of the Corn. I don't want to see your faces on the big screen. I'm just saying, because it's a little cray cray out there. Just saying. Just saying. But for all you other people that don't mind plowing the TV and can you imagine a dining table being in the middle of the road? I don't know. I think I would my spidey senses would have just been going nutso if I saw a chair, a bike, or a table, or a TV, and this was what it is. But long story short, they did an investigation. They found out who was responsible. It sounded like he wanted some type of attention or something to that effect. Again, it sounds a little mental illnessy to me as opposed of, whatever, but they're taking care of it. He's been charged with some felonies and it looks like they'll be under he'll be under the state's care for at least some significant years, 5, 10, something like that, maybe more. I'm not sure, but be careful of your surroundings. Be careful of your surroundings. Many of you guys are probably wondering why I wasn't on at exactly 10 a.m. this morning, and it's because I was preparing a very lengthy video, and I have been working on this video since about 6:30 this morning. It's something that I haven't showed. I will be dropping it as its full video, probably within 2 or 3 hours of this live ending. But this is going to be related to a different case. This is about a 5-year-old boy where his mom and her boyfriend did terrible things. And he was found in a shallow grave at a park. But even though the details, the specific details of this case differ wildly from Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, I think we can garner some useful information, right? One of the useful information that I think we can garner is how these interrogations work, how calm these people. A lot of people see CSI, crime shows, and they think interrogations are beating your hands on the table and saying, I want the truth. Tell me the truth. You can't handle the truth, right? And a lot of people think that is the interrogations, and people have this stereotypical idea of what an interrogation truly is. It's not like that. In some cases, yeah, when they have information and they're trying like hell, they will get a little more rigid. But when they have a lot and they just need the person to talk so they can catch them in all the lies, it's a very calm process. You don't want to upset. You're trying to make the person, the subject that you're answering, um, compare those to the inconsistencies and the lies, but you don't necessarily have to be nasty. You don't have to be good cop and bad cop like we've always heard in the movies and stuff like that. You just have to be direct and understanding. And, so, you got to be their friends. Those detectives are trying to become very friendly with these subjects very quickly. They do certain techniques like giving them McDonald's instead of, jailhouse food. They do it by maybe taking them to a secured fenced-in area and letting them smoke a cigarette. They really try to bring the bar of the hostility or the individual's resistance. They're trying to bring that down. They're trying to let them know that they understand. They're not really overly excited about anything. They keep a very calm, cool, monotone, relaxed voice. They're just asking questions. Well, can you explain this? And what about this? And very calm. And that does a lot of things because the subject that they're interviewing, when they're asking questions, they can clearly see things that instigate them or make them a little more defensive. And those are critical elements and clues for law enforcement when they're doing these interviews. And then we have, like, the deception detective tells us, the leakage, right? The leakage that comes from doing interviews and everything. We've that the leakage on related to the mom and stepfather of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers has been, plastered all over by hundreds, if not 1,000 different content creators of all the inconsistencies in their statement. And again, this case here is wildly different. We have, Skid Row type of people that are junkies. They were cleaned up, they got their life together, they had their children. Then all of a sudden, this son of hers was dropped off. She was also another mother that didn't raise her child from birth. Her child also has autism, and she was not equipped to handle that kind of child. And then her drug use skyrocketed, and things weren't as they seem. So there are a lot of differences in these two cases, but there are a lot of similarities. And the similarities come when they're talking about their child. Similarities are coming when they're referencing their child or others that are close to them and how they're referencing their child. There's a lot of stuff here we can take away and apply it to the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case, although polar opposite, but most notably is the behaviors, inconsistencies, and actions of the mom and the boyfriend. Moreover, the leakage, the leakage, the leakage, the leakage, the leakage. There are several spots in here that were leakage. So this is about a 33-minute video, and we're going to play it here and discuss it. If you guys would like the full version of this video that I prepared, it will be coming out later today, but this one's going to be chopped up quite a bit as we start discussing and getting relevance. But this is going to be mostly pronounced toward this child, that child, in accordance with our title of this show. So without further ado, this is going to be rough for some of you guys. If this is not what you guys would like to hear this morning, now would be a great time to exit stage right. This case has already been resolved. I just want to let you know this is not a new case whatsoever, and why it's going to be a great example of seeing how people act within the interrogation and seeing how the law enforcement acts and what type of questions they're asking and what they're really looking at and listening for. It really does break it down in some of these instances.
You guys are assuming that we hurt our son and buried him.
I didn't say any of
You
those.
just said dispose of the body.
I don't want you guys to ever think something weird, right? But
Why would we think anything's weird?
I needed him out of my house. I needed him out to get help. Not that I didn't love him and want him. I loved him. I love him so much.
Hey guys, the mother of Elijah Lewis, her name's Danielle, and she's 35 years old. And there's a story that came out in Law and Crime just recently, and I didn't hear of this story. And I am watching it and I'm listening to it. And there are some indicators here that we've heard in other places. One of the things I've noticed about this particular mother, Danielle, is that she referred to the boy as that boy. If you recall, we recently did a segment on dubbed That Boy on our channel here on YouTube.
Exactly.
So I thought this was very interesting. I'm going to be commentating throughout this. This is quite a long video, and we're going to parse it down as much as possible. But please think about this case. Listen to the words that are being said by a guilty parent and see if we can apply it to potentially other guilty parents. Remember, I truly believe that grieving parents act similar. Non-grieving parents also act similar. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channels.
I love you.
Elijah Lewis's mother, Danielle, and her boyfriend, Joseph Staff, were arrested on the Bronx subway on October 17th, 2021, because they failed to report their son missing for 30 days.
Keep your hand right there. There you go. You got cuffs?
Turn my microphone back on. And I just want to notate that these two people here also left their home where their child disappeared. The differences is not only did they leave and vacate the place, they took their other daughter over to a family member, which is going to be interesting and going to play a key factor in this. But they are on the run, and they are on. This is a New Jersey, I'm pretty sure, Bronx, New York subway. So the child was in New Hampshire. The child was found in Massachusetts, and they're on a subway in New York.
What's your name? Danielle. Yeah, you what?
Okay. You guys got any email about that one or what's it?
Hey, Shannon. You do about that.
Two suspects is 38-year-old Danielle Dauphiné, seen here, the mom of the missing child, and her boyfriend, 33-year-old Joseph Staff, both of New Hampshire, who police had to track down weeks after the boy went missing.
The shocking allegations against the mom and her boyfriend are alarming. What you're going to be hearing next is her interrogations with detectives. And she sounds very bitter toward her son. He has behavioral problems. He does weird things. He's autistic. There's a lot that can be had with this particular interview. And I think we need to listen very, very closely. Now, Danielle did not have her child originally. The ex-boyfriend or ex-husband or whatever the father was to her, basically, according to her, just dropped her son off with her one day and said he's unmanageable and that he has autism. She had no earth. That was a misspeak. He just dropped him off, and she'll make the statement, but I realized after I recorded that I needed to cut that out. He didn't say he was unmanageable at all. It's just that he had autism. The idea that he was going to be hiding knives under his bed and other things. He would be standing in the bathroom in pitch black in the middle of the night, and when she turned her lights on, it was like creep. These are all the type of things that she was discussing with the detectives. Like I said, very similar to some of the statements made by other parents that have a missing child, a missing autistic child. I think we can garner a lot of details from this case, and we need to pay attention. So please keep your eyes and ears open. Listen to the details. Listen to her statements. Listen to how she speaks about her son. Do you see any similarities? If so, let me know what.
First up, let's hear Danielle's side of the story.
Tell me about Elijah and what you understand of why we're here to talk about Elijah.
Because he's missing.
Okay, what can you tell me about that?
Okay, so Elijah, when I got Elijah back in May 26th of 2020.
Okay.
And his dad just like literally drove across the United States and just dropped him off to me. He's a very, very troubled child. He has a lot of mental issues. He likes to, Elijah likes to sneak out of the house. So we have a slider door. And I don't know if you guys have been there.
I have, yeah.
So you've been to my house. So have you felt the slider door, the wiggly handle?
I didn't touch the handle.
Okay,
no.
so the slider door doesn't lock, doesn't
Okay.
latch. He likes to sneak out.
Thank you, Gypsy, for the 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. If you received your 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships or your gifted Bullhorn Betty membership, please don't forget to tell Gypsy thank you. And welcome to this crazy crew we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. All right, so we're learning a little bit about how she does not really care too much for her. She has some issues. We're learning of the fractures and the issues.
While we sleep, he wanders while we sleep. He's a wandering little boy. So he's done that so many times. We would wake up and we'll find him. He'll come back in. He'll wake up, come back in, whatever. Well, Joe and I started using drugs again. We were in active addiction. She would hide knives under his bed, tacks under his bed. He would steal things from our kitchen. And
so stealing things from the kitchen, that's another one. There are some things. Now, there are things that some details here she's saying. Now, granted, this is one person's statements. We don't know if these things are true. I have not watched the trial proceedings yet. This particular case just came across today, and it was one case that has already made it to the end. And so we can go back and look at all the things that transpired and see if we can apply some of those things to the cases we are covering.
He would just do a bunch of stuff that not a normal little boy would do. So we started we just fell off the train and just started using drugs. So in September, I don't know the date. I honestly don't know the date, but September, he decided to wander off again. And us being in active addiction and not wanting to lose our kids, we tried to find him. We looked for him and we're like, okay, well, he's going to come back.
Now, again, this particular couple didn't want to report their child missing, which is a major red flag, to not report your child missing and to go on the run before your child's even missing or reported missing. It's insane. I mean, this has a lot of red flags and a lot of crucial mistakes made in this case by the assailants that we are not exhibiting in the Sebastian Rogers case. But there are some things that are, such as him going to the kitchen, taking things out of the kitchen that he allegedly is not allowed to have. And these statements that she's now referencing.
Always came back. So we waited.
Oh, and the differences is like Sebastian was not a runner, never left the house, where her kid is an eloper, allegedly. This is all coming from the suspect, so it's hard to take any account that she says accurately, because she's been known to lie and has been convicted of these crimes.
We waited, he didn't come back, and we're freaking the fuck out. We're like, where's Elijah? He never came back. If I knew all these behaviors, I would have made sure I had stuff lined up for him to, I'm not going to take on a child that has mental health issues and not have anything for him. That just does not make logical sense.
And she's right. Not having something for a child that has autism and are well aware of these types of habits, it doesn't make logical sense not to have preparations in place, i.e. exactly what Seth Rogers was trying to do before he got his son, making sure that he had his therapies all scheduled, including his homeschooling, so he would not be left alone, because his father has to work, much like Chris and Katie have to work. However, he's not adjusted to this new school. And his father wanted to make sure he was adjusted and had all the resources necessary before taking on the medical needs of his son. He was doing it the right way. This lady, as much of an addict as she is, realizes that taking on a child that has medical needs and not having a plan in place is not logical.
Sense.
Yeah.
And he didn't say that. He just said he might be autistic.
Later discovered text messages between Danielle and a friend a year prior.
This is going to shock you guys to your core. And this also comes back to me telling all the audience, your parents know the parents know their child. This idea that, these children have these psychological problems and we get to a mass unaliving before it's like, oh, well, we didn't know anything was wrong. No, most parents stick their head in the sand and are in denial. But it is my opinion that parents know their child. They see other children. They see their child. They know that their child is not acting like other children's children, other people's children are. And at that point, they try to convince themselves this is just a phase. They'll grow out of it instead of actually getting them the help and or therapy that they need. And then it's one of those things where, months later, years later, we're in a position where had they gotten him help, we probably wouldn't have all these lifeless bodies. And this again is going to shock you guys because of the statement she is about to make. This mother knew something wasn't right, allegedly.
Where she referred to the 5-year-old as, quote, the next Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer, and said, quote, I want him gone. I can't handle it anymore. The detective continues asking about Elijah's behaviors before Danielle makes some alarming statements.
Okay.
And this is not autistic. I have an autistic nephew who is, but yeah, he would scratch.
Okay.
He would sit there and bite his arms. He would, what else did he do? He would.
I agree with that,
slap
Angel,
him
Mom.
in his- like do weird stuff. Like I just didn't like, I couldn't, I needed him out of my house. I needed him out.
This is a child she gave birth to. I just want to let you know she's not a stepmom. She's this child's biological mother.
To get help. Not that I didn't love him and want him. I loved him. I love him so much. I just needed him to get help. And I was just watching him suffer and I couldn't do anything. You know what I mean? I couldn't do nothing.
It's dark with
This would be, now granted the video did switch around a lot and I cut a lot out of this because of fair use and other things. But I would have liked to hear whether or not the detective asked what did she try to do to get him help. Because in a lot of these situations, they do nothing. They don't try to get him into therapy. They don't try to, do anything. They just want the child gone. And, that seems to resonate a lot in our current case that we're covering.
the exception of the light from the TV. What's Joe doing at this point?
Sleeping.
Okay. Did you wake him up?
No.
Okay. So then you see that the door is open.
I mean, I woke him up eventually, just not right then and there.
Okay. Walk me through it sequentially. So
We can also garner a lot from the line of questioning law enforcement is doing here. Now, as you heard, the detective is now wanting her to chronologically, sequentially put what they did in order. And this is super, super important because they always want to get a good timeline of any person of interest. So we can apply this line of questioning to almost every case that we're covering right now.
I'm trying. I mean, like it's like obviously I came back in and I took the stuff and I went and got high because I was freaking out. So it's all a blur.
She's talking about her missing child, and if you look at her face while she's looking down, she's got this weird smirk on her face. This lady actually says when she woke up and realized her child was missing, she didn't wake her significant other up. She walked around, looked for him, and thought, hey, it's time to get high. I'm stressing out. So instead of actually going and looking for my son, whatever substance they like to do, which we later find out what was in this boy's system. I don't think she ever even left the house or even looked for him, but who knows? I wasn't there.
So you said you walked outside and then came back inside and got high?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I can't find him. I can't find him. I can't find him.
So where did you go when you walked outside?
So what I usually do is I walk down to the lake and see if he's there, because sometimes he'll be sitting on the.
She asked him, what did she do? And she says, well, what I usually do. I don't know if that's answering the question of what she specifically did that day. It seems like she's implying a lot about what she's previously done, but not necessarily what she did that day. Let's hear what her explanation of what she usually does.
The bench, and then I walk up to the driveway in the little dome, and then I walk up and down the street, and then usually he'll be at the top of the driveway or going down the right by the little like circle turnaround. He'll be just walking right there by the park, like there's a little beach. He'll be standing like right there because he doesn't know where to go, but he wasn't there. So I'm like, I had no idea what to do. And I just.
So you said you walked to the beach, to the bench.
I walked to the driveway and I looked. I looked up.
Yep.
I didn't walk up yet. I
Okay.
just looked. But
Okay.
usually I would just walk.
One thing that we should notice here is the detective was asking a specific question. Where did you go? And she goes into, usually I go. She didn't answer the question. And so that's what prompted the law enforcement officer to ask her again. So that's what you did. And where did you go from there? So lots of weird, it seems like at the end, she had her story. She was making up the story when she was talking to the detective. And by the time the detective reclarified with her, she was set on the story and where she went.
But he wasn't there. As I turned around, came back in, and I woke Joe up and I said, Elijah's gone.
So did you get high before or after you woke Joe up?
I got after.
Okay, so you woke Joe up and you said Elijah's gone. And what did he do?
He was like, what the fuck again? I'm like, yep. I'm like, but this time I can't find him. I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm freaking.
Do you guys notice no emotion? I mean, because I'm like I said, you guys, even though these things aren't similar, there's a lot of similarities in these cases. Lack of body language, lack of urgency, lack of needing to know where her son is, even though it's been a month and she has no earthly idea where her child is. Yet on the flip side, we see somebody like Michael Monkey Vaughn's mother or Riley Strain's mother that are still to this day frantic. We couldn't even get Riley Strain's mother to stop crying. It's inconsolable, right? When you lose a child, you're inconsolable. Even if your child is still alive and just lost, you're inconsolable. You're at loss for words. You are scared half to death of what is going to happen to your child. And this lady is just talking like it's just another day. No urgency, no caring of where her child is, no caring whether somebody has abducted her child, no caring, just, I don't know. We did look, but we didn't call law enforcement. We were scared we were going to get in trouble, right?
I was like, I need to do something. I need to calm down. I need to do something.
Did Joe get high with you?
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened?
And then we were just trying to think of what the fuck to do, where to find him. We've been looking for him every day. Every day.
So Danielle's story is that she couldn't find her son. She didn't want to get her other child, her daughter, taken from her. They were searching every day while having this drug problem. And they were arrested on a subway without their daughter. The one that they wanted to keep with them, and the reason why they weren't reporting their son missing, their 5-year-old son. They didn't want to report a 5-year-old child missing and not knowing where he is or what's going on with him. Did they preemptively assume that he was deceased? She made a statement here where they didn't know what to do. When she woke up her boyfriend, they were trying to figure out what to do. Could that possibly be a little leakage when they started plotting on what to do next?
So that night, though, in particular, after
He had to go to work.
So you get high, and then did Joe go outside to look for him that night?
He went outside a little bit, yeah.
Okay. Did
I don't
you
know
go
where
back outside?
No, I didn't. I stayed in with my daughter.
Okay. And during this day, how many times would you say that you used heroin?
In this day?
Yes.
When I woke up, and then I probably would have used it in the afternoon, because when you're pregnant, you have to use a little. It's so f***ed up. I'm only talking about it. Anyways,
Yes, you heard her correctly. She is on H and pregnant and trying to monitor her usage while she's pregnant. And I guess we don't understand why potentially some of her children are having health defects and birth defects, most likely from the consumption of substances.
a few times during the day, and then at night I would use a few times because I would get sick quick.
Okay. So he left at 7 a.m. And what did you do from there?
Freaked out. Didn't know what the to do. I don't know. I'm like, didn't want to lose my daughter, but I wanted to find my son, but I didn't want to lose my daughter. I didn't want to lose my son. I'm pregnant. My mind is going crazy.
Why didn't you call the police?
Because we didn't want anything to happen. Because DCYF would get involved.
Okay.
And then my daughter would get taken away. So I don't know. It's so hard to explain to people that aren't addicts why we do the things we do, like why we ran, because we're scared. We're human. You know?
I truly believe she was running and they were scared shitless. But I think it's for different means than what she's trying to portray to law enforcement here in this video. If you noticed at the beginning, she was victim shaming, talking about how horrible her kid is, about the problems that he has and how horrible her life was. Those are the things that I identify with in another case.
You know, it's a reaction. We didn't know what, just like we didn't know what to do.
And when you say you ran, you're talking about when you fled from New Hampshire last week. Okay. And what were you afraid of then when you left?
Because we didn't report it. I was afraid of going to jail and losing my kids.
Okay.
I don't want to go to jail. We didn't do it. I mean, we did do something. We didn't report it, but we didn't do anything. Is my daughter still with my mother-in-law?
No, she's not.
She's in foster care?
She's in, state custody. Yeah, I do know that. Why? I'm going to be honest with you.
Why?
That piece it's not a law enforcement piece. That's social services. They're two totally different entities. When we became involved in this situation,
when they don't know whether the person that this child is in the custody of, they take custody of the child because that child is a state's witness. Okay? And they don't want anybody interfering with that child's statement or recovery because you got to think that this child endured something, especially if it's an older daughter. We don't know. I don't know if this is an older child or a younger child, but either way, that is a state's witness. Okay? If you guys remember the West case, their other children had to testify against their parents and talk about having to dig things. And, it was very, 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 it sounded like they had, made their young children help out with Classic and Sincere's disposal. If I had to, I don't remember all of the details, but that is something that I do remember as being a topic of the case. So they want to make sure that the children are removed and are protected and don't have any outside influence.
She was already in state custody. Yeah.
Why can't she be with family? She's my poor little girl.
Well, right now there's a lot going on. And so we're really trying to figure out where everything stands.
So now we realize that she went on the run without the daughter that she didn't want taken out of her custody. She had no problem with not having her daughter. She just didn't want anybody to know that her son was missing, I think is really the truth of the matter. Because if the concern was keeping her daughter and taking care of her daughter, why would she give her daughter to her mother-in-law?
I'm so sorry.
What are you sorry for?
And then I should have just said something. I have no fucking idea where he is. He's usually always standing by the beach at the top of the driveway or by the beach because he wants to play in that area because it's all kids stuff right there. But I don't know if he's sleepwalking. I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell.
Now, when did you ever have suspicions that he was sleepwalking?
Well, yeah, because sometimes I would find him just standing in the kitchen randomly. Just standing there. Or in the bathroom with the door shut with the lights off. And I would walk in and like he would just be standing there. Like scary, freaky stuff.
6 days after Danielle and Joe's arrest, authorities said they found Elijah's body buried in a shallow grave in a state park in Abington, Massachusetts, determining he had been dead for about a month. The New Hampshire Department of Justice said the 5-year-old died from, quote, violence and neglect, including facial and scalp injuries, acute fentanyl intoxication, malnourishment, and pressure ulcers.
Indeed, this is a very disturbing case. Now you hear that they have found Elijah. The condition of Elijah and the toxicology of Elijah is not good. It sounds like he must have gotten into potentially the substances of the mom and her boyfriend and could have lost his life that way. And instead of calling law enforcement, they decided to dispose of his body. There's also another theory, because they talk about abrasions and damage to the scalp. So he could have been abused to death. They talked about neglect. But the most important is the heightened level of fent in this child's system that give me pause and kind of theorizing that something happened inside that home where that child got into some substances because the parents keep saying, the mom and her boyfriend keep saying they were in active addiction, they were using, he was getting in their stuff, but they never directly talked about where they put the substances, where the substances were stored, but they were scared because of their substance abuse addiction and didn't want anybody knowing. So that's what's leading me to believe that this child may have come in contact with that lethal substance. And somebody just asked, what are pressure ulcers? Pressure ulcers are also known as bed sores or decubitus ulcer, decubitus ulcer. And it's a localized area of the skin damage that develops when prolonged pressure is applied to the body. It says pressure ulcers occur when pressure to the skin restricts blood flow, leading to tissue damage. Factors that increase the risk include immobility and reduced mobility, sitting or laying in the same position for extended periods, poor nutrition, incontinence, skin moisture, bone prominence, like hips. So that means he was skin and bones. Signs are redness that does not blanch, white out when pressed, warmth or tenderness, pain or discomfort, swelling, blistering, and open sores, hard and spongy skin, black or yellowing tissue, dead tissue. So if people are curious about that, that's what that is.
So this last time that Elijah went missing, when was that?
The last time?
Yeah.
Early September.
September?
Yeah.
The beginning of September?
It was towards the end of September. Like it was like towards the end. Yeah. Towards the end.
Some people say, I may have another theory on that because the child had bed sores. They may have been intentionally giving this child something to make him sleep so they could party. We cannot exclude that as a probability.
I wish I don't. When it's hard because we don't know dates. Like I don't pay attention to dates.
Okay.
Plus being in the house, not having to write a date down. You know, I don't know. I don't freaking know.
Okay.
5 years old.
So towards the end of September.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you get up and you go into the kitchen to get a drink. And do you do that? Do you get a drink?
Milk, yeah.
You got milk? Okay. And do you put it into like plastic cup, paper cup?
Glass cup.
Okay. So you have your drink of milk.
Law enforcement is already noticing the inconsistencies in their statement. In one case, Danielle says that she was the one that awoke first. And in another case, her boyfriend says he's the one that woke first. He talks about getting milk, and the detective is specifically asking him what type of cup he used. It is that specific in these types of interrogations. So when people are interrogated by law enforcement, they are to have a timeline and specificity. And these two people, their timelines all over the place and their specific details do not match one another. This is a red flag for law enforcement.
And then what do you do next?
Go back. Check.
Okay, so you walk into Eli's room and just kind of take me through what you see.
I thought he was in his bed and he wasn't in his bed.
Okay.
And just to let people know, this is not Eli. This is not Elijah Vu. This is Elijah Lewis. This case is Elijah Lewis's case. This happened in 2021 or 2022.
So then what did you do?
I went straight outside.
Did you wake up Danielle?
No, he was sound asleep.
Okay, so you get up to go pee.
Yeah.
What side of the bed do you sleep on?
This side right here.
Closest to the kitchen?
Yep.
Okay. So you get up to go pee and you go into the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Do you turn the light on?
Yep.
Okay. And you use the bathroom?
I turn the light on in the kitchen and in the bathroom because I'm afraid of dark.
Okay, fair enough. Me too. So once you go to the bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
what do you do?
I come out, I go here. Well, no, first I come out and I put my drink down. I have a little thing right here next to the bed. I put my drink down because I got a drink.
Okay, so after the bathroom, you went
I got a drink
into the kitchen.
into the kitchen.
What
Got
did you get for a drink?
a hen water.
So when you first went and you saw Eli wasn't there, did you turn the light on?
In his room?
Yeah.
There's already a light, like a light on the dresser that's usually on.
Okay.
I peeked my head around the corner and he wasn't there.
Okay. Was his light on?
Off.
Off. Okay. Were the lights on or off in your apartment?
Just the TV's on. TV's always on.
So the apartment's dark with the exception of the light from the
All right, we're getting down to the last 10 minutes of this video. And this last 10 minutes of this video is going to start bringing us into the topic of conversation related to, hey, JH, it's nice to see you. All the people, Car Guy, Truth in Time, Karen, it's nice to see you. Loves, Passion Flower, B. Betty, all my beautiful mods, thank you so much. But this is going to be the most important, and this is where I start stopping the tape a little bit more and going over it a little bit more. Thank you. You Can't See Me is reminding us all. We have 421 people in chat right now. If you have not thumbed up this live, please consider thumbing up this live. Thank you guys so very much, and thank you for all being here.
TV. What's Joe doing at this point? Okay. Did you wake him up?
No.
Okay.
It's almost as if they prepared a script and they're both playing the same character in the script. They're almost saying identical information that each other did, but they are doing it at the same time, but both of them are sleeping in one another's story. Both of them are getting up in one another's story. It's very convoluted, but what you can deduct from all this is if she's saying she got up first and he's saying he got up first, she's saying that she turned on a light, he's saying that there was a light already on in the room, she's saying there's not a light in the room, she's saying she got a water, he's saying he got a milk. And both are saying neither one of them woke each other up during this process. Interesting.
So then you see that the door is open.
I mean, I woke him up eventually, just not right then and there.
Is Danielle still in bed?
Yeah.
Is she awake or is she sleeping?
I don't know. I don't want her to like not be able to remember the same exact
We're gonna
thing,
talk
you
to
know what I
her.
mean?
No, but
Like I don't want
here's-
this to make you guys
but
think
Joe,
that we're
Joe,
not
Joe, here's the thing.
mashing up stories or something that's gonna throw you guys off. You know what
No,
I
no,
mean? I
no.
don't want you guys to ever think something weird, right? But
why would we think anything's
I
weird?
don't know.
But what I'm going to tell you right now is what you've told us, and I just talked to Joe, is the exact opposite as far as how this night went. There's a lot of little indiscrepancies in that, and that's normal. There's no way that you could both be, you can talk and get on the same page with a lot of things, but things like this, when we don't stop digging, and that's when we find all the little inconsistencies.
As you heard law enforcement state, they're looking for little inconsistencies. This is huge because on a lot of channels, they act like those inconsistencies, those minor inconsistencies, are nothing to look at. Well, law enforcement does look at them, and they know that those changes and inconsistencies amount to red flags, and that's why they focus on them. So the next time somebody says something's minor, believe me, law enforcement is paying attention.
And that's okay. That's okay. What I'm telling you is all of it is okay, but we need to find him.
I don't know where he is. If I knew where he is, I would honestly tell you right now.
Is that because Joe disposed of him?
No.
Did Joe bring him somewhere?
No. Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, that's what I think. You know.
Well, I would know that though, because I was with him and he did not do anything.
Yep. And I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you.
I think he's saying he doesn't disagree with her because he truly believes, yes, she was right along with him. She was right there during this whole time.
But this is.
I swear to God, I do know. No.
Okay.
If I knew he did that, I would f***ing tell you.
I'm not saying that he.
All right, now we're down to the last 7 minutes. You are going to start hearing how she truly feels about her son. She totally separates herself from her son. He's no longer her son. It's this boy. It's that boy. It's distancing language. It's distancing language. You're going to be hearing more and more of where she no longer says his name. She refers to him as the boy, this boy, that boy. This is very common in these cases. Very common. More common than you think.
He did anything. I'm not saying that he hurt him.
Well, you just said that did Joe dispose of his body?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not. I have I've been with him.
Because what I'm saying is, whether it was accidental, whether it was to protect, whatever it was that led to it, I understand why you didn't want to call the police.
No.
Because of the other things.
No, not happening. No, I'm not going to agree to that. No, because I know what happened.
Whoa, folks, she knows what happened. That's an interesting statement that law enforcement is going to capitalize on.
I also want to further state that how can you say on one hand you don't know what happened, but on the other hand dismiss all the probabilities or possibilities because you don't know what happened? This is something that has been analyzed in the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case multiple times about how the mom and her husband seemed to know he walked out the door and dismiss any other possible theories as to what happened to their son, as if they know where he is, because they know. This lady knows too. And he also said that he believed her when she said, there's no way he could have done it. I was with him. And I think when the law enforcement officer said, I believe you, I think it's because he believed that she was, in fact, with her boyfriend when they disposed of her son.
No, we did not hurt that little boy, and I do not appreciate you saying that.
Did you guys just hear that?
No, we did not hurt that little boy, and I do not appreciate you saying that we did.
That effing little boy is her 5-year-old son that they're referring to. Yes, this came out of the biological mother's own mouth. Let's listen to that again.
No, we did not hurt that little boy, and I do not appreciate you saying that we did.
Yes. Now do you understand why I focus so much on people when they refer to their children as this boy or that boy? Because that's not normal. How do you refer to your child? Do you refer to your child as this boy, this girl, that girl? Do you? Of course not. You refer to them as my son, or my son John Doe, or my daughter Jane Doe, or just my daughter, just my son, or my oldest daughter, my oldest son, my middle child, my youngest child. We don't refer to our children as this boy or that girl. I'm sorry, we just don't. And for her to use that language when referring to her missing 5-year-old child, that to me was all I needed to hear. And we have heard statements like that in the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. Yes. As frustrating as that statement is, she called her kid a effing little boy, or whatever she just said. She referred to her missing 5-year-old child with that language. I'm pretty sure law enforcement took note.
I'm not saying that you did.
Nobody hurt that little boy.
I'm not saying that they did.
Nothing happened.
You guys hear her distancing herself from this being her child? This is no longer her child. This is just a boy. We've heard that language. We're about to get over to it so much. So much in the Sebastian Rogers case.
Well, something happened.
Yeah, no one.
Well, I'm not saying that somebody hurt him.
Well, that's exactly what you're saying, though. You just said that, like, you.
And I want you guys to remember, this is, again, a child that has leaned on her for everything from, clothing, food, everything. A 5-year-old child is 100% dependent on their parent. This child disappeared. This lady has no tears. This lady is not inconsolable or uncontrollable trying to learn about her kid. This woman is, and you guys hear, because I don't know this lady, right? So I can refer to her as this woman and this lady because I don't know who she is. But you're not hearing me call my mom this lady or this woman. She's my mom. And she has no urgency, no tears. She doesn't seem to be overly concerned that her child's been missing all of this time, her 5-year-old child. These are the behaviors we can attribute to other cases we are working on.
You escalated, you couldn't handle it, and then now he's gone, and this and that and that and this. No one hurt that little boy. No one hurt that little boy. We are not monsters. We are.
Haven't we heard monsters before? Wasn't it CP that said he's not a monster? Those are statements that are said a lot of the time when you deal with something like this.
No one can hurt that little boy. We are not monsters. We are very good people. We are very nice.
Didn't we hear also that they're good parents and they've done, they do this and that and interesting. Lots of stuff, lots of differences, but damn sure lots of similarities, especially in their behaviors and actions.
Our kids are well taken care of. We have a drug problem. Just do not fucking judge us because
her kids are well taken care of. They're using substances literally all day long, substances that knock you out and incapacitate you, but yet they're good parents and take great care of their children. Okay.
We're drug addicts. We will not hurt our kids.
I'm not a monster. We're great people. We're good parents. Where have we heard that type of language before? I can tell you. In just about every single one of our missing child's cases, where a person that was in care of the child did something to the child.
And I'll take that to my grave.
No, I'm not judging you. I'm not getting upset.
No,
with
then you guys are assuming that we hurt our son and buried him.
I didn't.
That, my friends, is leakage and Freudian slip, because this child was in fact found in a shallow grave. Yet not one law enforcement talked about the manner of disposal that they believed that they did. I found that very, very interesting now that we have the full story.
I didn't say any of
You
those.
just said dispose of the body.
Yes, I did.
What body did we dispose of?
There's a lot of different ways that people can die.
Mm-hmm.
And then people panic. He could have choked. He could have, there's a million different things that could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he could have choked on food. He could have tripped and fell. He could have hurt himself. He could have drowned. And then you panic. There's a million different things that could have happened that you aren't responsible for. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Just because that little boy, he was still well taken care of. We have never, ever hurt that little boy. We love that little boy no matter what.
But I don't want you to have the weight of the world on your shoulders.
They loved him. They loved him. Did you hear her say that? They love this child. She loves this child that she just told a friend a year prior to that this child was going to be the next Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer. Does that sound like love to you? Do you refer to your children that you love as Jeffrey Dahmer or another serial killer? Very much past tense. Yes, lots of it's been used in here. We've heard that. That's a red flag for a lot of us, because parents that believe their child's out there and not deceased don't refer to their children in the past tense. Most of our cases, Summer Wells, parents always referred to their child as past tense. Sebastian Rogers, they did refer to their child as past tense, but have become well aware of that being a red flag and have tried. They've been forcing themselves to use different language, but it still creeps up, even in the most recent interview on WSMV, where the mother says he would have been 16, and she had to stop herself because she has had that pounded in her brain not to use past tense, but she can't help herself because the truth has a habit of rolling off your tongue when you're under stressful situations. And that's why she was speaking so much slower than she had ever spoke before. She was really making sure she was following all the instructions that her attorney gave her, but she made a very glaring defect in her statement, and that was broadcasted by WSMV.
We didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. He did not. There's no body.
And that, my friend, is exactly what many parents believe. Something has to change in this country, where some states that don't take no body cases to court, they feel no body, no crime. And you know what? People that do horrible things to children, they rely on that. That has got to change. But she was right. She's asking them, but you guys have no body. Why? Because they knew where that body was.
Then where is he?
I don't know.
Where do you think he would go?
I don't know. He could have been in the lake. Did anybody check the lake?
Of course.
Nothing. Yes. No. What?
I haven't found him.
No. I don't know.
Danielle and Joe stick to their stories, but it's later revealed that 5-year-old Elijah was found dead in that shallow grave with fentanyl in his system after the New Hampshire mom allegedly recruited her boyfriend to help dump the body. Investigators estimate the child died between September 21st and September 24th, 2021. Danielle ultimately pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and 2 counts of tampering with a witness. She was sentenced to 53 years behind bars. Joseph pleaded guilty to manslaughter, second-degree assault, falsifying physical evidence, and witness tampering in connection to the boy's death. He was sentenced to 22 to 45 years behind bars.
This is one of the cases that end with justice for the child. Many of our cases do not. And what is the reason? Because their assailant was able to hide their body and to hide their body well. This is a travesty in our country. I pray to God that Tennessee starts bringing these cases, and for God's sakes, get some internet in that state. That is a critical and crucial component to law enforcement this day and age. God bless each and every one of you watching this, and please don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe.
All right, guys. So now it's time to move on over. Move on over. Rover, move on over. Let's see what we got here. Hopefully it stayed in the same spot I needed it to. It did. Let's listen. Let's listen to Betty. This was 2 months ago. We brought these statements of this boy and that boy up literally 2 months ago when we started noticing them constantly distancing themselves from their only son with referring to him as this boy and that boy. Let's listen. Let's take a gander at it. Oops. Stop sharing. No, we don't want to stop sharing. We want to do this. Let's listen. Let's listen.
And come out and tell you, remember on January 1st, 2025, whenever I said this, right? We're not going to harp on it. And we're not going to be making posts and videos and, going on for days and days and days about it. We're just going to sit back and we're going to wait until it happens. And we're going to say, see, that's why you don't do the shit that you say you're going to do. So that's kind of where we are with all of this. Now, what is this whole this boy, that boy type of thing all about? Okay. It is the way, as you guys can see, we do have a poll. If you haven't participated in the poll, please consider doing that. And it's asking you whether you think KP and CP have spoken or described Sebastian well. And it's a yes or no question. Please don't forget to take the poll. Before we get started on this segment and before we start showing the videos, I'm going to go through our super chats one more time and thank everybody that has participated this morning. Melanie, Holly, Amos, Liz, we've already went over you guys, so I'm just going to briefly go through until we get to the ones we haven't seen yet. Amos, thank you again. If you guys received your Bullhorn Betty membership, please don't forget to tell all the people that give you your membership thank you, okay? Because they didn't have to do that. That is a gift from them to you for me, for the benefit of me, right? So don't forget to thank them. Juicy Jello, thank you so much. Our beautiful Lady 7-Up saying,
that is another critical thing. Thank you, Sandwich. I just got it. Okay, Sandwich. Yeah, exactly. She is not concerned how he passed. Isn't it funny that the parent, the two, the mom and her husband aren't concerned with really what happened to Sebastian? There's a lot. Like I said, I would not have picked that up, a case that's that old, but I found a lot of similarities in behavior in some statements more so than the details of the case. And those are the things I'm trying to emphasize for you guys, because again, this goes to support my my statement that, people, defense attorneys are the one that says people grieve differently. To the rest of the world, when we see a mom that's lost a child, I have not seen one mother that has lost a child that has been innocent of anything to do with a child not showing the same exact behavior from one person to another. They are grieving. The crying, the sound of a mom that lost her child is a sound, just like it is a sound that you will only know if you hear it. It's almost like, in all fairness, like but not like decomposition. It's a scent that you will never forget once you smell it. It is a sound that you will never forget once you hear it. And when we hear people saying, well, people grieve differently, that's a defense attorney speaking, because we watch parents day in and day out that have lost their children. And I don't know any parent that is just okay or doesn't have urgency or is it uncontrollably crying or, chattering their lower jaw or trembling. So we can let the defense attorney use that in court. But here in the real world where we have common sense and not a court of law, we're going to use public perception for these.
Happy New Year's. We got Smiley's World up in here.
And yes, that is the day that we ran this story. It surely was New Year. It was January 1st. If you guys would like to go back and watch that, it is on the playlist.
You, Smiley, by the way, I know you went through quite a bit this last year as well, and I hope you have an amazing new year, 2020. Wonderful new year.
We get past all these.
All the beautiful. Got the new list star 25 question until thinkers the end of the show. So let's start the show. So what is this boy all about? It's one thing. I don't know. I know a lot of you. J for J did it, BHB. Well, slam her ass and take her channel. You cannot put somebody's social security number. I don't care if you're a hate. That is dirty, found out doing smokes and damage. Will open the multiplier.
Sorry, guys. Let me get to the spot.
Because of the nasty information out there on you. Just saying. Just saying. Do unto others as you wish would be done to you. But don't, when you start doing crap like that, you don't cry victim. You don't cry victim when it happens to you because you dirty butt did it to somebody else. And karma is just desserts.
Amen.
I've been trying to get out a little more. Many of y'all think you fight. I had my own.
There's a lot of chatting. I guess
on here. Light.
I guess I'm a chatty Kathy. I thought I had the right spot on the video. Apparently, I do not. It was just the first one. So I think we're getting close. If I can just, let the stuff play. But we are a talk show. We are a talk show, and it requires us to talk. So that's what I do.
They're not covering, say, the Sebastian Rogers case. We love the creators, so we're going to go and support them and make sure that they're here for years to come because there's going to be another Sebastian Rogers case that we need their influence, their experience, and their dedication on. Amen. So we the
come on,
guys going. I want to make sure that we're all supporting one another. So I'm
all right. Let's move past it.
They refer to.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? I'm waiting. It looks like I'll
go up a couple. Yeah.
Oh, you can't hear it. This must have been a day we had technical issues.
Sebastian, and you want. I've been kind of going through of our,
that boy. Let's see if we can hear this one.
The boy.
I think this was the day that I had all the technical issues and I had to finally pull up the transcript so you guys could read it. And this one says, wait, wait to love him. And that boy's going to have more friends than he knows what to do with. Remember that in that interview? I really wanted to get Dutch's interview up here because they said some things, but it didn't sound like I had volume.
Search for this boy's. Let's see what this one is. This from one of their. I think there was like a couple in here where they say this boy
Who is searching for this boy.
Okay, that's her.
We got volume back.
We go to the other one. At least that's what psychology tells us.
Okay, we're gonna get to
pull this back and see if we can hear all of this boy. We have several this boys in this particular. When you got trying to show you Legos corner.
Yeah, I mean it's not like this boy was going into a 2x2x2 space and
that I truly believe could be a slip, a 2x2 space. a 2x2 space. We heard the lady in the other one say, "I can't believe you're accusing me of unaliving my child and and burying him." Remember that. Now, this is a statement up front. This statement here, I think, was their first interview, might have been their second interview. I'll have to wait until the Feisty Mama's thingy is down, and we'll find out which interview this is. But you guys just heard it. Listen to this. Listen to this. Is Mr. Rogers up in the chat? It's nice to see you. I'm not sure if you want to be here for this. Just FYI.
Then you're not hearing what I'm trying to show you.
Legos corner.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like this boy was going into a 2x2x2 space and hiding. I mean,
see, isn't that creepy? That's not like this boy. This boy, could you
see? I have a problem with people that allegedly love a child referring to him as this boy or that boy, especially when they are missing and there is no emotion coming from the mom or the stepfather or boyfriend. There's no emotion. There's no urgency. This child has never been out of their sight, and all of a sudden this child is gone for a week, and it's just like they're having a conversation with a friend. I find that problematic, especially when on the flip side, I mean, Seth just came in here. On the flip side, we have his father that's out there that shows real emotion almost on every single interview. Why? Because when he talks about his son, it's hurting. He's hurting. Why is Seth hurting so much? Because he doesn't know where his son is or what his son is going through. And that really bothers him. And it shows. Hey, busy mama. It's nice to see you, Wendy. Good morning. Morning, morning.
You guys hear that at least this time? Is it Mr. and Mrs. E in the... Oh, hey, Mr. and Mrs. E. Oh my gosh.
Oh, and by the way, if you guys see Mr. and Mrs. E or Auntie E in the chat, get my attention. Because I see them here and then I get talking and I don't read chat very much because I'm playing all this stuff and have to pay attention to my stops and stuff like that. But I need to know when all three of them are not there in the chat. Make sure I'm aware that they're in the chat. Thank you.
So happy to see you guys in chat. I hope you guys, we've had middle E and our thoughts back to where they need to be, but just hello and happy new year, guys. Happy new year. I'm sorry, it just does. It just does. It just gives me the EBGBs. And here's another one when she refers to her son as this boy. So you got CP referring to Sebastian as this boy. Now you have mom.
I would say that this boy is loved and that he has a caring and loving home. And
this boy.
Doesn't that seem like eerily similar to that lady where she says, when she's referring to this boy and that she takes care of her son, that they're well taken care of? Isn't that similar to what we just heard in this case?
That's
that he has a caring and loving home, and say that this boy is loved and that he has a caring and loving home. And
there's another one when she referring to Sebastian as this boy. Now you have mom.
I would say that this boy is loved and that he has a caring and loving home. And
referring to Sebastian as this boy. Now you have mom.
I would say that this boy is loved and that he has a caring and loving home. And
so like I said, there are a lot of similarities. Maybe the details of the case don't allow the details of the case to cloud you. We're looking at actions, behaviors, and statements. Actions, behaviors, and statement, not case details. Actions, behaviors, and statements. Let me drill that in your head. Actions, behaviors, and statements. We are not looking at the details of these cases. These cases are polar opposite. One, you have parents that are on substances and child's getting out of the house. They they'd rather get, high than worry about where their child is, didn't call the child in as missing, went on the run for a month. So we have the details of the case are different. Okay, the details are different. Yes, they both had autistic children. One child is deceased, and it's the 5-year-old boy because they found him in the shallow grave. But at the beginning, that mother stated she had no idea where her child is, and if they're implying that they killed him and buried him, and the law enforcement is like, whoa, whoa, who said anything about burying him? So we need to listen to those things, especially from mom or her husband, because there is going to be leakage. They cannot possibly keep all this stuff together. Then we're going to go over to Bed Crime Story. She makes a statement that I did not realize at all. She made a statement yesterday. I watched her video, and there was something there that I was fully unaware of. And now that, if it's true, will mean a lot more in this case. We'll get to that.
This boy, that doesn't, the point of that just does not resonate with me very well. It just doesn't.
No way. No. This boy has got so much love.
This boy, not Sebastian, this boy. It's so much.
Now, let's go back here. Let's go back here. Right about here. Let's listen. Just lost my audio. Hold on. Love that. Love it, love it. Can't bounce around between video to video. StreamYard can't handle it. They're not making enough money to fix the problem, apparently, when they're the highest cost streaming service on the market.
No, not happening. No, I'm not going to agree to that. No, because I know what happened.
Whoa, folks. She knows.
I'm not saying that you did.
Nobody hurt that little boy.
I'm not saying that they did.
Nothing happened.
Well, something happened.
Yeah, no one.
Well, I'm not saying that somebody hurt him.
Well, that's exactly what you're saying, though. You just said that, like, you escalated, you couldn't handle it, and then now he's gone, and this and that and that and this. No one hurt that little boy.
Wow. Nobody hurt that little boy. That effing little boy. Don't forget she said that earlier. Let's not forget she said that earlier.
That it drives me absolutely bonkers. Bonkers. Okay, that's it for that one. Let's go over here. I'll make sure I didn't drop my my.
Always having a check to make sure it didn't drop the audio. This was 2 months ago. Still having the same problem. Maybe somebody should notify StreamYard. Oh, that's right. They don't have a customer service line. That might be the biggest problem.
Say his name. Exactly. I don't know any parent that's going to refer to their son as this boy, no matter what they're talking about when they're missing. My beautiful boy, Sebastian. My son, Sebastian. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian. Our son, Bubba. Our beautiful boy, Bubba. You know, Bubba's not come. Bubba hasn't been here. We had no problems in the house. Bubba. Sebastian. You know, we're getting none of that. We're getting this boy. Now that boy.
That boy's gonna have more friends than he knows what to do with when he comes home.
Our beautiful son is going to have more friends than he'll know what to do with. Sebastian, Bubba's going to have more friends than he knows what to do with. That boy. Is there another one in here? I don't think there's another one in here. No, it's not. That was the only one in that particular interview. And then, of course,
and it just dawned on me that very first video where I was referring to that boy, that was the very first interview they have ever given to anyone It was on Dutch's first interview. They were referring to Sebastian as this boy or that boy at the very first interview. Then the second interview with Dutch's, they also referred to him. The very second interview, which is this green shirt interview you see on my screen, that was with WSMV. That was number 2 interview that they provided in this case. The very first 2 interviews they provided to the public. This is how they were referring to Sebastian. In my opinion, that in and of itself is past tense. Hey, hindsight.
The boy loves the boy. The boy.
Aw, thank you, love.
The boy. The boy. The boy. The boy. Let's see if we can keep on going with the boy. Let's see. Do we have more? Oh, who's this? Oh, Fat Lips.
Right. And you could even say, hey, I helped to bring that boy home when he comes
that's the
home
wrong one.
and break your arm.
But there was another one. I grabbed the wrong one. Where is it? Okay. Let's see if this is somebody talking. I heard it. I just didn't pull it. I must have pulled the wrong one.
Your boy is.
No, that's not it. It was while Chris was talking. So I guess I don't have any for that one. And then we have the update from Nick Barris basically saying the same thing. So my question is, what do you guys and how do you guys feel about the way that Katie has spoken about her son?
So that's kind of where our show is kind of concluding. Because again, we have convicted parents that have done horrible things to their children and have been convicted of those crimes, making some similar statements about their children that are missing and or deceased. And this case, while I did this video back on New Year's Day of 2025, we're now rewinding the clocks and going back to a case that happened before this case to see the behavior of this convicted person of doing these things. And when you look at the behaviors and statements and actions, those things are very, very similar. I hope you guys continue to keep bringing stories and other cases. I would like more conviction cases that we can garner testimony from and do a comparison, because I truly believe, just like many of my audience and many people out there that are waiting to find Bullhorn Betty's show, think and believe parents don't act like this. Normal parents don't make these statements. Normal parents typically don't act like when their child's missing that it's not urgent. Normal parents, when they've been away from their child and have not seen their child, think about when you go on vacation or you have to go on a business meeting or travel for your job. When you get to the place that you're going and you know your child is okay, you're still panicking. You still want to know if your child's okay. You still want to call your child at night. You miss your children when you know that they're okay, because the thought of anything and everything could possibly happen to them while you're out of town. And so you want to make sure that you're talking to them more, that you're telling them good night every night, calling them in the morning, making sure they've got everything for school while you're out of town. You're in an urgent state when you're out of town on business and your children are left at home. And when you wake up one day and your child is just poof gone, you don't have that same type of urgency or longing to speak to your child or knowing where they are. If you were out of town and you called your children and you didn't get a hold of your children, don't tell me you're not freaking out. Don't tell me you're not freaking out. Of course you are. When you're at work in the same town as your children and your children are 15 minutes late for home, you know it. Don't tell me when you call home and they don't pick up the phone, you're not trying their cell phones or trying to locate them. And here we have this case that seems like the only person that is longing to find out what happened to his son is Seth. These are actions and behaviors we are taking note of and have taken note of ever since the day we got involved in this case. Something stinks to high heaven. Something continues to stink to high heaven. All right, let me get over here to bed crime stories and then we'll wrap it up. Which one is it? It is this one. Let me get to the spot I need it because I don't want to take too much time on this. Let's see here. Transcript. What did she say? What word did she use? Let me think of the word she used. Hold on. Da, da, da. I think it was like closer to the end. I'm trying to read all of this so I can get to the right spot. Give me just bear with me, y'all. Okay. We're getting closer. Okay, here it is. Here it is. We're there. Let me play this. It may not come up. I may have to, once I change it, it may drop my audio. It didn't drop my audio. At least it doesn't appear that it dropped my audio. So let's listen to this. This is from Bed Crime Stories with T, I think is her name.
Cell phone on there in Memphis and then traveled the 3-hour and 24-minute car ride to Hendersonville, Tennessee, possibly with a burner phone in hand. Remember when Chris was in the military?
Here it is.
He worked in operational planning.
That is the piece, the critical piece that I did not know. Do we know if that's true and accurate? And I'm only saying that, not that I'm trying to disparage T or Bed Crime Stories in any way. It was the first I heard of his capacity in the military. And that detail is crucial, and I'm going to explain why. Let me go back just 20 seconds, 15 seconds, and let's listen to that again.
Hour and 24-minute car ride to Hendersonville, Tennessee, possibly with a burner phone in hand. Remember when Chris was in the military? He worked in operational planning.
Operational planning. Now, if you were in the military, you and your spouse were in the military, and your child was missing, you're going to tell me if you were in operational planning that you're not going to plan a massive search for your child? That right there to me is a mic drop. again, if true, if somebody knows this for a fact or has, military records or has a LinkedIn or something like that to corroborate T's statement, I'm welcoming of that. This is the first we knew that Katie was the, electrical person. She did wiring inside the submarines and stuff like that, or on the ships or whatever. And we never really knew what the capacity of Chris was. And now we're finding out it's operational planning. And we have a child missing that looks like it was a well-planned event, so much so that people believe that he was abducted and nobody can find him on camera. It Are not abducted, but ran away from home, but nobody can find him on camera. And then we found out on Nancy Grace, Katie believes that there's a possibility that somebody has him. Yet she's never pled to this person or the public at large to let her son go or bring him home safely. She's never once asked those questions. She never seems to be concerned with what truly happened to her son. She just wants to allegedly seem to only care how he left the home, not really where he went. They all want us to believe he walked out the front door, but that's really the only statement that they're wanting to force feed down our throats to believe. And we learned from his father he would have never left the house without shoes. So obviously, and the planning was so I keep losing my train of thought when I'm trying to specify on the planning of it. But oh yeah, the planning that many people, the planning, on a quick thinking from a operational planner is quick thinking. You got to think on your feet, and people believe that this stuff was premeditated. And that really should go in the operational planning of this, because I truly still, even though he's in operational planning, don't believe this was premeditated. I think this was a break. This was a sporadic situation that happened and flared up. And by the time it was all said and done, it was an oh shit factor. Was it lodged into the back of her head? There is something that leads me to believe that this could have been premeditated. Okay, I'm not going to tell you that that it's not. There's not a theory out there that I possess that shows a premeditated planning of this child missing, because we can't dismiss the fact that this child in the public's eye has literally disappeared without a trace. Poof, gone, right? But my problem is it seemed like their relationship was final, and that the relationship between Chris and Katie were coming to an end. And it seems like all of this pressure. But getting back to the premeditation, is we did see that photo from Costco's. And I believe that that is a thumbprint on the neck of that child. And I keep wondering, did she try to do this once before earlier that weekend and just couldn't allow herself to do it, and it left a bruise? Or maybe the weekend before or earlier in the week, and that bruise was from her losing her stuff and doing it early on. I asked, and this might play a significant factor in this case. One of the statements I made was that it was awfully funny to me that Chris was pushing so hard to have Sebastian out of the house. Did he know things were going on in that house that were going to lead to this, and he did not, and he saw his wife, spiraling out of control, and he was trying to get Sebastian out of the house before something like this happened? That I said, I want to say in March or April. It may have been as late as May, but I know we had a discussion on it. And the consensus of this is no, Chris, because this was early on, that Chris might do that. She might, what is it, Robini? She's live right now. Who's live right now? I truly believe it was carefully planned out, in my opinion, hence the number of people at the Texas Roadhouse. It's possible. It's possible. There is, I have all these theories that I do possess, that I think of, on logical sense with the facts that we have or know them so far. And there's a premeditated one there that I have bounced around with, but the reason why we don't really talk about it is I don't have like anything to support that. Usually we have something to support something, and we don't really have it. We just have our assumptions and our opinions, excuse me, and our opinions on it. But we don't have anything solid. Not that it has to be the smoking gun, but just something solid that we can really lean into that theory. And so now that theory is just idly on a sheet of paper somewhere at the bottom of a list, waiting for something to come up that may solidify that theory a little bit more. And so far, there is nothing. Because all of the stuff that I've seen so far, even the 3-hour call, I still believe is the oh shit factor, because I figured if they had this plan, this is just the way my brain thinks, but if they were to have this plan, she would have never needed to call her husband, because they would have already had what they were going to do when they were going to do it, and that it would have been planned. And because of that 3-hour call, that kind of lets me know that this is done, because even if it was planned, she should just call him for a few moments and say it's done and be off the phone. She wouldn't have to be on the phone for 3 hours with this man. That 3 hours to me is going over what they need to be doing, planning on how they're going to cover up whatever they're doing, whether it's a child custody, whether it's her losing her shit and whatever. That's really the crux of that 3-hour call, in my opinion, because if it was planned, again, coming back to the premeditation portion of it, according, in my brain, that 3-hour call wouldn't have had to take place. She could have said, I was going to bed. I just wanted to tell him good night. I called him, said good night, got off the phone with him. You see what I'm saying? That 3-hour call is something. And the timing of that call, the late Peter Hyatt says he believes something happened to Sebastian at around the time that call was made to Chris. It wasn't Chris calling her, it was her calling Chris. We have to remember that. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys take that, kind of roll that around in your brain. Let me know what you think about everything that was presented today. This other case, again, the only reason why I grabbed it is, one, somebody had sent it to me. Two, after reviewing it, I could see some specific behaviors, statements, and actions that do mimic some of the stuff that I'm seeing in this case here with Sebastian Rogers. And why late Peter Hyatt? Yes, Tennessee Babe. He passed away. He passed away on March 5th. We lost a good one. We lost a good one. He had been ailing since taking over, probably before this case came up. And he started working on this case. And that's when we kind of found out he was very ill. And then we started hearing rumors that the family needed prayers. A lot of people thought he had passed away before he actually passed away. But then we learned on March 5th that he did pass away. And just, we just want to send our love and our support for his family that are probably going through the unthinkable. Everybody I've ever talked to that has had direct contact with Peter Hyatt has said that he's a very approachable guy. He's always responded. I know I've sent him, I can't remember if it was a tweet or an email or a messenger. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. And he even responded to me. So he was very approachable. He loved sharing his expertise and his knowledge to the world. And he really wanted to teach people his gift. And his gift is statement analysis. And he was very, very good at it. So much so that he traveled all over the world teaching other people. So I have to try to listen to the experts in their field. Now, it's not that I'm going to agree with them. Once I get a little more information, it partly could be true. They're just telling you their experience in other cases they've dealt with. And that's really all you can garner, just like what we do here on this show. We have other cases that we cover, and we're constantly saying, oh, this sounds like this case. This sounds like this case. This sounds like this case or that case or whatever the case may be. And it's because of the experience we've had in those other cases. So anyways, guys, I'm going to let you mull that over. If you guys have any questions, if you guys have any theories, assumptions, anything that can help me, explain things a little better, please send that to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I just want to tell everybody again, thank you for all your love and support and continued love and support as we fight for justice for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And he does deserve justice, no matter where he is, whether he is, it is as sad as it sounds, dead or alive. We need to find him and bring him home. And we need to make sure he has justice, because even if he is out there, he was taken away from his father. Somebody needs to answer for that. Somebody needs to answer for why he's not taking his medication and why all the work that they've tried with therapy and everything else like that had to come to an end over some petty nonsense, if and truly, in fact, that is what we're dealing with here, some petty nonsense where this child is in some type of home or ward or church. I just don't believe it. And every time I hear an uptick in sightings that don't make sense, it makes me wonder if the parents are playing games, because, it keeps the case continuing to drag on. That's all I'm saying. So anyways, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. But more importantly, say it with me, kind to one another. All right, guys, go make it a great Wednesday. We'll see you here later this afternoon. It's already 1:00. We usually do our breaking news segment on the other channel around in about a half an hour. I can tell you that that's probably not going to take place today. We will reconvene tomorrow on our traditional daily schedule. But today we've got, me personally, have a lot I'm dealing with here. With this case and other cases. So I'm not sure what my schedule will be the rest of this afternoon, but I will try to be back before the end of the day. Please don't forget, we have continuing and extenuating and continuing legal expenses that we need to try to raise if possible. I know it's been very hard. I just want to thank you all that have contributed. If there is anything that you guys can do, we still are running the GoFundMe page. We still have a lot of attorneys. Many of you guys, I know what these hate channels, I don't talk about my case because I like these people looking like, like they don't know anything. And I can promise you I have attorneys out the wazoo right now. And those attorneys have to be paid. And I'm doing the best I can with the payments to them. But any help would always be welcome. So I appreciate that. Thank you all for everything you guys have done for me and this boy sitting behind me. We will not stop until he's brought home. And I'm hoping the whole world hears our call. God bless you. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims.
God bless you, God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims.